think it's recording now. I was going to go to Jumanji. They have like this throwback every once a week, and it's Jumanji this week. But I'm way too tired to be able to go. They have free popcorn and free drinks. I'm not. I want to watch it, but I can't go because I'm too tired. But I like to hear both sides of the protest, so I just kind of want to pick up on this video and kind of give my thoughts on it. I like how he's named his channel Smile to Jahannah, which I think is the Islamic word for paradise. But yeah, if you take off the J and the H, it actually says Smile to Anna. One day he will probably realize that Anna is God and that Islam is actually a false religion, and he might watch back on this video and start feeling a bit foolish. But I just kind of want to talk about it, I guess.
Expression in our Christian nations from other religions.
Whoa. I thought this was a free speech rally.
And Islam is the most dangerous thing for our society ever.
There was a very big march that took place in London yesterday, the implications of which are gigantic.
This is a religious wars. Ban any type of public expression in our Christian nations from other religions.
In this video, I will be summarizing a lot of what has happened and what you need to know by going through a lot of footage so you don't have to.
And that is a Muslim faith, that is an Islam extremist religion.
That's why I highly recommend that not only do you watch it, but you share it with your friends and family so you are aware of what is going on in your country.
I like how this guy is talking about it and specifically picking up on all the Islamic clips, because I'm hoping that Islamic people watch this and think, you know what, I don't have a visa to be here, I'm not welcome here, I want to go back to my Islamic country. That's kind of what I'm hoping people are watching, because I don't know, I don't like the Islamification of this country. So I'm glad that he's making this video, but not for the reasons that he thinks. He thinks he's exposing like hateful people, but I think that what he's doing might actually just encourage Islamic people to leave, which is what I kind of want.
You choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die.
Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. Your support on Patreon keeps these videos alive, spreading the truth about Islam and correcting false narratives at a time where it's most needed. Click the link below to show your support. So ladies and gentlemen, a march took place yesterday in London. The official figures are going to about 110,000 to about 140,000, but the event organizers claimed that the people that came were in their millions. The mainstream media, as well as a lot of people, are claiming that they're just far-right people, you know what I mean, they're just extremists. However, that's not entirely true.
You know what really surprised me was the sheer volume of young people attending this event.
They're wrong, this is not far-right. We've got women here, children here, grandparents, like I said earlier, all colours, races and creeds. Everybody's here standing up for the United Kingdom. Everybody's united together.
As you can tell from the reporting of GB News, a lot of these people were regular British people with legitimate concerns. So to label all of them as far right, I not only think it's inaccurate, but I think it's a bit naive. No problem. We'll grant you the fact that there were hundreds and thousands. Yeah, like GB News says. What makes...
Let's just make it... You said they're there for legitimate reasons. So it's interesting how you kind of just... You state that, and then you kind of like ignore the fact that you just said that they have legitimate reasons, many of them.
This even more concerning is that regular people claim to have gone there as a means of...
Yes, many people pointed to their patriotism as their reason for being there. And
I like the film Patriot. That's one of my best films, definitely. Probably third best film, Patriot.
That free speech is under attack.
And the excuse is the Labour Party doesn't represent their views, the Conservative Party does not represent their views. The New Reform, Nigel Farage's party, for some people it does, for some people it doesn't. Therefore there is a new party called Advance UK, led by Ben Habib, of which Tommy Robinson is also a member.
Why doesn't he talk about UKIP? That's what I want to know. I've been following someone, Nick, from UKIP, and he seems to have very similar ideas. So I don't know why he wasn't on the stage. Does Tommy Robinson not know about him?
Even though technically speaking they are currently unregistered.
The next gentleman who's coming up now, in the not so distant future, I do believe will be standing in there. Next up, play the video.
There can be no greater happiness to secure their own futures and secure the futures of their loved ones.
Average people think, you know what, they want to pop their flags, no problem. They just wanted to go there, do their thing, you know what I mean? But it's this that I think it's even more concerning.
Ban halal, ban burqas, ban mosques, ban temples. Here's the Islamic terrorist flag.
I want to say that I agree with that. I think Islam is basically just a list of things that I do not agree with. I'm God. I do not agree that it's okay to walk around with face veils. I think even seeing people on bicycles cycling around with a face veil, it makes me feel like they're just about to steal something or steal someone's phone and then cycle off. And because there are cameras everywhere, but if you're wearing one of those balaclavas or ski masks, you can't see who's actually cycling. Hence, they might be able to get away with crimes and stuff. So I don't like face veils, and I think it should be banned because it's about females, it's about male supremacy and female submission to males. So I really don't like it. And halal meat is just meat that is where an animal has suffered for a couple of seconds before dying, rather than being killed in the sort of quicker fashion. So I'm for the idea of banning halal meat and banning mosques as well, because mosques basically are preaching people to turn against the West and the Western ideologies, because a lot of laws in Islam and in Sharia law do not align with Western laws, and by preaching a different type of law and saying this is God's will, it's almost like you're saying telling people to ignore the laws of the country and only focus on God's laws, even though they're not my laws. So I'm very glad that there's been people saying this and standing up for it and speaking out against Islam. A lot of people in the past would not have done this, and I was really impressed by the Islamic ripping of these flags. I mean, the ripping of the Islamic flag, because I think a lot of people would have feared doing this, like how would the public react and stuff. And I think the fact that it needed to take so many people to have this level of kind of confidence to be able to do this, I think this really will make Islamic people think twice about their religion and think, is this really the truth if there's this many people standing up against it? Islam is not the truth. Muhammad is the false prophet, and a lot of things in the Quran have nothing to do with me. I am God. I am this Jahannam that you are talking about, but I am not. I do not agree with the Islamic belief, and if you do, I that's your choice, but that's got nothing to do with me, and you're believing lies when it comes to God. And therefore I'm really proud that I'm glad that this has finally happened. And it's weird how it had to take so many people to gather together to feel like people are safe enough to do this. But I'm very happy about it.
In the name of Jesus, I bind you up, you terrorist organisation. 50,000 British Muslims downloaded a terrorist manual in our country. We are both subject to the same.
I'm glad that you have records on this. If 50,000 people downloaded, a terrorist manual in England, find out who is downloading this. Find out which homes are downloading this, who's doing it, and try and get rid of them. They are a danger to society. These people are going to be radicalized if they believe that Muhammad's teachings were the true teaching. If you're going to follow Muhammad's advice and laws whilst believing that it's God's laws over Jesus's, I'm not really a favor of Jesus, but he mostly just had teachings that he had teachings that had two sides of the story, but he would only give one side. And, sometimes the one side is okay, but it'd be smarter to look at both sides of the story. But his is not as dangerous. His teachings are nowhere near as dangerous as the sort of teachings that you can learn from Muhammad. So, Islam really is a big threat. And it's strange how people don't realize that the threat to society is actually Islam. So it's nice that people are finally speaking up against it.
In process of the great replacement of our European peoples by peoples coming from the south and of Muslim culture. And Islam is the most dangerous thing for our society ever.
And that is a Muslim faith, that is an Islam extremist religion.
Islam is our real enemy. We have to get rid of Islam. Islam doesn't belong to Europe.
I agree. I think we need to get rid of it too.
These top tier, and I'm talking about the top tier political positions, they shouldn't have any Muslim mayors. They shouldn't have any,
So you either fight for this nation.
I agree. I don't know why people have just let Islam come in and seem to promote it and love it as much as they do, because it's not the truth.
Or you let all of these rapist Muslims and corrupt politicians take over.
This was the extremist rhetoric that was on display and live streamed as well. This is what was allowed to be said in front of children, in front, like they're admitting, they're women, they're elderly. Why is this okay?
If 100,000 people gathered for a march in London, and instead of saying the words Muslim or Islam, and they said the words Jew, Jewish, and Judaism instead, and they said what they said yesterday, would that be allowed?
Well, the difference is Judaism has lots of different teachings within its huge amounts of text, but some of them don't take it very seriously. Some of them just kind of ignore a lot of the stuff. You know, there's a lot of Jewish people that know next to nothing about Judaism and Judaism mysticism. Jewish mysticism is basically just lots of different kind of beliefs. So Judaism as a religion can include lots of different things, and it's not just about radicalism and stuff. Whereas with the Muslim teaching, there are some specific laws, Sharia law, but you know, face coverings or just general coverings. I know there might be lots of different varieties of Islamic beliefs, but they're not really. A part of the Islamic belief is to form some sort of Islamic caliphate and unite under Islam and become one and all become the same. And their basic principles, their basic laws are about forcing people to worship their religion or die. That is part of their religion. Jewish religions do not have this become Jewish or die. I mean, they say you can only become Jewish by being born, by having a mother that's Jewish. So, you know, it's not be Jewish or die. It's you are who you are, we are who we are, we're waiting for the Lord to come save me. So it's a very different, to turn against Judaism as a whole, it's impossible, because there's lots of different teachings and not every Jewish person is the same. There's lots of different versions and they're not all bad. But when it comes to Islam, you know, they all have one thing in common, which is that Muhammad from 700 BC, 700 AD, after whatever AD, you know, that's their prophet, that's their messenger, that their representation of what they see as being perfect. And if you listen to the stories, okay, you might not believe all the stories, but they're not good, and therefore to insult Islam and Muslims for choosing Muhammad as their sort of, you know, ideal person of how they should be, you know, this is a good thing you should attack, because because they all have that in common.
I just want to know, can somebody clarify this for me? Would that be allowed? Maybe a journalist could ask Keir Starmer or the government or the police maybe. Is that allowed?
The amount of anti-Islamic, anti-Muslim...
It's not allowed, because the truth about all religions is that there are lots of different types of people, and the truth about Islam is that there is actually only one main type, which is them who follow a terrorist. So it's different.
Muslim sentiment that was allowed to be said with zero consequences. It's actually disturbing and very worrying.
What I find is disturbing and worrying is the fact that so many people had to get together for this to be allowed to be said. It's like there's so many people. Look how many people there are. All these people. And a lot more down there and a lot more down there. It goes on.
As you may have heard by now, this is the biggest right-wing / far-right march that we have seen.
So it took that many people to say what needed to be said, which is that Islam is a danger to society and to the modern world and to the Western people and to people with better ideologies and do not want to support terrorism and, you know, killing of people, raping and war brides. You know, Muhammad had war brides. He supported marrying cousins. He supported child marriage. He supported loads of different things during his life, and they were all bad practices. And it took that many people to get together to finally say the truth about what it is. I mean, that's what I'm seeing, and some Muslims are just so blinded by it. They're just like, no, this is just, I mean, he's trying to make out that, you know, why are they allowed to say it? Of course they're allowed to say it, but why did it take this many people for it to be said? That's what I want to know. I'm asking a different question.
They are now, the far right, are melding themselves in the right-wing pot, because you've even got far-right sentiments from the conservatives. If the conservatives are becoming far-right, the whole pot becomes just right-wing.
There is no other religions. There's only Jesus Christ and then all the rest.
There's no other religion. Only...
Well, Jesus actually just represents kind of the average person in modern day society. And okay, they're not all amazing. A lot of them kind of see themselves as being better than others, but whatever. You know, this is the truth, though. You know, even a lot of people in other religions are kind of very similar to Western thinking, which is that you can all have different beliefs so long as you're not harming others. You know, that's genuinely a common belief, and therefore, you know, if it takes Christianity to rise up to get rid of Islam, then I'm all for things like this being said, because it's, if this is what it takes to get rid of Islam, then let's do it. Let's do it.
Only Jesus Christ's religion. What about Judaism? Because you literally were just quoting the Old Testament, but the Jews don't accept Jesus. So you're in a bit of a predicament here, mate.
He's weird because he's kind of assuming that everyone at this rally has the same views, have the same thing. They're all there because they want free speech. But of course, some of them say that we don't want free speech, we only want Christian speech. You know what? This is how it is in society. There's lots of different people that have lots of different views. We're not just all exactly the same. So you can't just say this is a free speech rally and then a couple of speakers kind of want one thing which kind of is against it. You know, it's a contradiction, yes, but you can't just say that this whole demonstration is just full of hypocrites because of a couple of things that people say.
Mate.
We've got to get everything out that does not know or receive Jesus Christ. Ban any type of public expression in our Christian nations from other religions.
Whoa. Ban any type of expression other than Christianity. I thought this was a free speech rally.
Do you not understand what free speech means? Free speech means that people get to say what they want. Now, if people want to express this view that they want Christianity only, they have a right to do it. And okay, there's a lot of people in the crowd that will not agree with this, but there's a lot of things that they say that they will agree with, and you can't just attack someone for saying something, because part of free speech is that they should be allowed to say what they want and not be attacked for it. If he wants to say that, then he should be allowed to say that. Is that going to happen? No, probably. They're not going to get rid of anyone that's not Christian, but I don't know. I mean, technically it would be nice if all people, I'm Christ, you know, Christ is here, Christ is real, Christ is actually on earth, and I would like all you know, religions to, even China, you know, they don't worship Christianity and I don't want them to, but you know, when I'm exposed as being Christ, I would like my telling of Christianity to be exposed to them. So yeah, I want Christianity everywhere, but I want my telling of how I understand the Bible. So it's a little bit more complicated.
I thought these people were frustrated that their free speech was being curtailed. They're just calling for the exact same thing. Look, so they want to ban everything. They want all the religions out.
Not they. He said it. Don't confuse he. If a couple of people are saying things and they're getting support, that doesn't mean that everyone in the crowd agrees with the same belief. Let's understand that he and they are two different people.
Out. They only want Christianity. Doesn't this go against the whole premise of what they're marching about? This is what I just don't get. And this comes on the back of a couple of days ago, a Sikh woman was raped. Yes, by two white British people And it was quoted that they'd said something along the lines of, this country is not yours, go back to your country, something along these lines. The Sikh community is very worried, especially on the back of certain figureheads.
You have to look at numbers. If there are, of course, there's some bad white people. Of course, there's some bad rapist white people that are around. But you have to understand that it's not just about one or two cases. It's about the number. If they're all white people, then yes, white people are the problem. Or if they're all if the majority of the rapists are from Pakistan, then I guess you have to recognize the facts that Pakistan is coming up with some bad people that are doing this. You shouldn't just judge things on one or two stories. You need to judge things on the mass number of stories.
Heads from the Sikh community being propped up by the far right. This guy called Harmin and Bobby and whoever it is, there's a few prominent Sikh people that are behind the far right. And it's very interesting because they haven't said anything, to my knowledge, about this Sikh woman that's been raped. And the Sikhs are now having to...
Maybe they haven't heard about it. It is just one story. I haven't heard about it.
And be a bit more emboldened and draw this line between themselves and the far right.
If 100 Pakistani women, Pakistani guys attack someone and a couple of white people attack one, you can't just focus on the couple of white people and say that this is proof that we're all the same. It's not. You have to look at the number of rapes and the majority of where most of this problem is coming from. You know, there are going to be problems in all races, all religions, but yeah, you should look at the numbers and statistics on it. And I don't really know what that is, but I know it's more Muslim. And why is it more Muslim? Why? Because Muhammad did that. Muhammad raped people and married them against their will. You know, forced marriage is part of a lot of traditions, including Sikh. I don't know I don't know the statistics on how many people, but I would love that for England to actually ban forced marriages at all. Anyone who comes to England and got married under a false religion should be allowed to have this marriage annulled and taken away. Or anyone that got married under the age of 16, you know, that should be discounted as being a marriage in England. You know, I think there should be some sort of ways where you fight against this sort of there's religious laws that are just incorrect and go against teaching, go against people's free rights and teachings.
Because the far right are trying to weaponize them as well. On the march, we saw these guys, as you can see them, chanting Allah, Allah. Who the F is Allah? Now, is this okay? Well, firstly,
Allah, when they was doing that, I was standing next to... A lot of them were doing that while standing next to me, and it was just kind of a bit annoying because it sounded like they're saying, Anna, Anna. It sounded like they were saying my name. And who the fuck is Anna? I was like, it's me. I kind of wanted to say that to them, but I didn't because, yes, I also knew that some of them were shouting that Allah is the devil. And it's just like, yeah, I don't want to be saying it's me if you're going to be saying I'm the devil. I mean, technically I am the devil, but yeah, you need to be open-minded to the fact that maybe the devil isn't actually bad. That's just there to test. Is it getting darker? It's okay. You can still see me. It's getting darker, so I might need to turn the light on soon. But
if I was to just respond, I'd say Allah is my God and your God. Well, firstly, if you open up your Arabic Bible, for God it says the word Allah. Secondly, if you check the native language of Jesus, which is Aramaic, go to the dictionary, type in God, you will see the translation is Allah. So Jesus called God Allah. So these guys are so stupid.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't matter. Allah is still me. It's just it's a side of me that I don't want to be because it's the side of me that made animals. So yeah.
Stupid. They don't even realize that with their hatred, they are insulting their own religion as well.
I think actually it's the other way around. With your hatred, you don't realize that over time, people see Allah as being the God of Islam, and God, the word God links to just every other religion. And that's why these two names, they've kind of been divided, and people see one as being linking to Islam and one as being linking to others. So to say people are stupid for how things are in this time because of something that was written thousands of years ago in a different language, that they don't understand. It's not them being stupid, it's them being modern, and you're the one that's sort of constantly putting your brain back to how things were in the past, thinking that's what Jesus spoke. That's what I don't even know. I have no idea what language Jesus spoke, to be honest, and I don't really care, because it's modern day is different. Dan, I don't want to think about the past.
Secondly, the event was started off by 3 reverends. Yes, they're like 3 Christian imams. I don't know how you can sanction something like this, frankly.
We stand before you this day in fear.
Lol.
Not in fear.
And again,
It's a Christian country. You would expect there to be Christian leaders or Christian priests starting off something like this, because it's a Christian nation. And okay, I don't really want it to be a Christian nation, but I'd rather it be a Christian nation than any other religion. Like, you know, they worship Christ. All I need to do is prove to them I'm Christ, and then I'm okay with the religion. And I need to also retell all the stories in the Bible and focus on the females rather than the males. But
I don't want to show this footage, but on the live streamed footage, the camera showed the audience. There were a lot of women, elderly, children there looking at the camera.
Actually, I need to turn the light on, and I'm going to stop this. It's 25 minutes.